Alright, what's up? It's Rain. Gonna be doing some moon images. I'm just gonna run a slideshow and I'm just gonna talk a bunch of shit.
Word.
Yeah, so the moon is the same pattern as Mars, as the Earth. It's the same pattern. The whole entire surface area of the moon has been constructed to be an artistic pattern. There is not 1 inch of surface area on the moon that's not littered with layers and layers and layers of images. So yeah, they burn. The net burn is the fact that you're surrounded by an electrical system that's just nothing but graphics on top of graphics on top of graphics. Is that connected to the pineal gland? Is that connected to the dream maker? Is that connected to visual imagination thought? I have no idea, but it actually leans towards that, to be totally honest with you. That's like the crazy, the thing. But just from a standpoint of just terrain manipulation, I mean, first of all, like, let's say an example with the wall. There's an example of the wall. The wall is not going anywhere, or is it? Because you're technically, your house is technically going in the rotation of the planets. Either the planet's moving or the net grid is moving. Something is moving within this equation, because how the image get on the wall. I'm not sure which one it is. It could be both. But let's say you have one of those wood walls. It's that really fine wood that, you know, it's waterproof and, you know, you can't really crease that shit. How did the image get on there? Well, it just stamped a fucking dust particles or fog or smudge marks or some shit. Probably dust. Into it to make the image. It burns foliage. It creases bed sheets. I'm not sure if it burns foliage. Yeah, that's the wrong, because it doesn't burn hair. It just manipulates hair, manipulates and bends and whatever, everything. But for the terrain of an entire planet, I'm not sure if they use that same system or if they just manually just I mean, well, some of the things that happen within that net grid are manual. I don't think it's all just chaotic, random burns. I think there is a manual override within that. And, like, even though it sounds primitive, you do see, if you ever get really good and you go out into the middle of the woods or whatever the fuck it is, and you start looking into the graphics, you start to see, like, you start to see that wacky, really fast shit in there. You know, I call it dark graphics. It's definitely clear, but it's that clear graphics shit. When you get good, you start staring at the graphics, and the graphics has that little hyper, it's like its own little world type scenario thing going on there. I'm not actually sure if that's a digital world, like as if there's a whole other digital world out there that exists. Like whenever the word dimensions is used, like it's an interdimensional being. I think it's just a trigger word with myself, whereas the word dimensions always resonates like a very divine, crazy level where it's just like, that would be beyond what the aliens are, the incredibly long-living aliens. It'd be way beyond that. There's a future us existing right here in the same matter, in the same point in time, and we're never going to actually meet these people because of the fact that they're a whole different frequency, but it's happening right here. You know, we're standing right here at the Eiffel Tower, but in this other dimension is some other shit. That could be what the aliens technically are, but whenever I hear the word interdimensional, I revert back to my simplistic mindset where, like, you know, that image where the being is technically in the machine connecting himself to the frequency. But how does something program a dream if you're just laying on your floor? You gotta think in terms of the mindset of the person who's tripping on acid. Like, with something, when your mind is more connected to emotion than it is intelligence, the mind makes the moment happen, not necessarily the body. Like, So if you're laying there and there's just like this little whisper gust and it just brushes up against your knee, but you're already in the panic mode, you know what I'm saying? Like, if it just gets to the knee a little bit, oh my god, what was that? You know, you're already gone. And then, like, they'll just take it, whoa, what was that? And then to make that into an environment or whatever the fuck the setting is or whatever the concept is or whatever the hell it is, and turn that into you being thrown out of the airplane or whatever the fuck it is. Is that kind of clear, or is that just a mess? That's a hot mess, probably, isn't it? It's a terrible mess. Because it's all within the mind. How could something get me to feel as if but how am I feeling being thrown out of the airplane? Because it's not a, maybe it is, maybe they are just doing that, but like, I'm feeling the air, oh my gosh, I'm feeling all that shit. I would probably say it's still 98% of your mind, and it's all being done by that you tripping that energy. You just oh my god, all over the place, and then the actual physical contact is just a wind gust, it's just like this little breeze, just stimulating the neuron. But he's connected to a system that probably has both sight and feel. So that being is, I don't think that being is in a crazy digital virtual world, though. He could be, but whenever I hear the word dimensions, I think of the fact that, like, that example whereas, you know, you're living in the same space as something else, but it's a different time. There's a whole nother us, a whole nother planet Earth happening right now, but we're different molecules running at different frequencies, thus we don't pick up on it. Like, that's crazy shit. That's like freaking, that's like a god level type thing. That's just really crazy. There could be a virtual world that they created. It could be, but I always just envision when he plugs himself into that Matrix machine, and you're standing next to a tree, and he's a shadow being next to you, or he's within the net grid or whatever it is. He's still just next to that tree. Is not something a dimensional being if it is there, but it's not. But that's a radio wave. It's a ability to be there as a radio wave. You're still there. He's still looking at the same boring ass tree that you're looking at. He's not like in a crazy other virtual world, but he could be, though. I'm not sure. Dimensions, demons, dimension. I'm not sure from a literary standpoint if that wordage connects, but the net grid does give off a shimmering of a redness, so it could be that the lore of the demon technically stems from interactions with these things within digital form, from a redness that the net grid does resonate, because it's resonating at some type of ultra high or ultra low. Within digital form, you got the net grid, it's resonating red. It could be where the lore came from. Okay, there's that. Are they in a virtual world when they plug themselves into the Matrix, or are they just sitting next to the same boring tree, walking down the same boring sidewalk that you are? They just have surveillance capabilities because they technically are at fuzz. The surveillance camera, you know, when you hear all these things on Unsolved Mysteries and shit. Unsolved Mysteries was a show back like in the early 90s. Still watch it shit all the time, loved it. They had all the alien things, and someone would get abducted and then you get tagged. Person gets tagged, and then like, so like I was brought up thinking like, oh, this person's tagged, or this person's like marked like a cow or a duck or whatever the example is. You know, we tag things or whatever. But then when you get really more involved with the situation, you start to realize that like the surveillance camera isn't that metal within that person. The surveillance camera is light itself. Light. That's how crazy these fucking things are. The surveillance camera is light. Jesus. I mean, technically it's not. It's an electrical magnetic frequency, but like whenever you're not familiar with, I mean, they never give their full brunt. They're always a little bit coy. I think they never put their full impact of the punch in of ultimately what they can do. But as you get more learned in the situation, you start to realize that tag thing, I mean, it could very well be a reality. I'm very sorry for anybody who actually went through that. I'm not trying to take away from anything like that, but I come from Unsolved Mysteries, and then they put the tag in the person, like, oh shit, that's when, you know, the aliens got you. But then you move up within the situation, and you start to see this net grid on and shit, and you're just like, the surveillance camera itself is light? What the fuck? That's way out of friggin' what I was guessing. Jesus, it's crazy. But is he not an interdimensional being? He's a radio wave. He's the hologram that you see on CNN. It's different, okay, yes, but it's the same hologram. It's a totally different type of hologram, but it's the same type of fucking Skype shit. Let me just get back to the original point. So I'm not sure how they cut the terrain of planets. Well, anyways, I'm not sure if they cut all that stuff with like net burn, like they do with, you know, pretty much our entire clouds and our entire foliage and all that stuff, or if they have to go out there with some lasers and some orb type shit, you know how the crop circles technically are perceived to be cut. The orb flies down there with the data and it just cuts the fucking thing or whatever the hell it is. Because that's smelting rock. I mean, that face right there, this moon face, this guy, and that's a mountain or something. These are craters, or these are huge dugout friggin' ravines, whatever. No, that's not ravines, or the word ravine, or the word is ravine, right? I think those are craters, they're huge holes or whatever it is. But I mean, that's all cut via not graphics. There's not a layer of graphics, and we're peering into it, and the graphics are manipulating. And that's rising and lowering of terrain levels. That's a whole nother. It's another level of a visual. So I'm not sure if they actually cut that with lasers and stuff, or they cut it with the same net. You know, they're very big on, it's not really art or artistic expression. I mean, it could be. They probably are very fluent in an artistic expression, such as art itself and, you know, movies and stuff like that, and films. But, you know, when you start connecting the dots with the pineal gland and that grid, and contact through dreams and contact through imagination and vision, you start to see that they take things to a whole nother level of shit, where it's not just a movie. They have the ability to program a dream. The movie is, you know, like they're able to create virtual environments, I suppose you can call that, or virtual realities within the moments that you're in with the dream or whatever. But the point is that that artistic expression, that's like a whole nother level, next level of shit. That's like the final stages of this situation, I would imagine, is getting to those type of levels. And then you also have to fuck around with your own manifestations, your own fears, and your own shortcomings. So it's a problematic fucking headache. Alright, what's up? This is just a continuation of the last one. And yeah, I was cutting through the image, and I ended up seeing this cobra image. And that's how I perceived it to be. It's got this kind of like, I suppose the hood would start here, goes around, got an eye there and an eye there, got the nostrils. But the interesting thing is that, like, right here is a code line. It's a code line, and it's going to spike up into the Y. So I mean, everything has multiple uses within this. Everything feeds off each other and whatever. You got this code line right there. That's going to go up and fork into the Y. So you're going to have the forked tongue. If this were to be a cobra, and I think actually that is what it is. Would the code line flow and then fork off into the tongue, and then you seen it the next clip, would it be the same thing? Or I'm not sure how long the code lines sit there for, or pretty much anything. Very superficial with a lot of the information. I just point out repetitive patterns within the pictures, and these code lines are always there. But not some of the stuff is tattooed into the terrain, but I'm not sure. Well, that's probably tattooed into the terrain too, or is that the picture taking the image, and that's like a shimmering of the net grid? I have no idea, but got the forked tongue right there, so I perceive it to be a cobra. Like I said before in the other documentation, probably thousands of faces within here, even more. I mean, just a ridiculous amount of faces. See another U in there. Yeah, I think that U's always in the center of the moon. Down here was a picture, very, very bright, very ferocious, you know, and it's tough to see, but I interpret it as some type of helmet or something. Actually looks like a bull's head, or some type of creature like that, where there's the snout right there, and there's the eye. But I end up perceiving that just as a helmet. I made that face. I mean, I think the face is there, but I was not confident about making that face there, though. I mean, it does look like there's a face there. Down, there's a nose. The face does appear to be there. I wasn't, like, you're trying to find out what's on the same plane, though. Is this face connected to this? Because it's just images on top of images on top of images, so is this image in the same plane as this helmet so that they would all connect? So is the man wearing this helmet, or is there a face here and there's this here, but they're on two different planes, so I'm not sure if they connect or not. But I'm just gonna run a slideshow. This is actually just gonna be displaying the face font that they ultimately use. How, like, you could just see how everything's just, if you really wanted to just sit there and just cut faces and faces and faces and faces, you could literally just sit there for fucking ever. Forever, and just cut shit out of there. So it's like, you know, you get so many conspiracy theories on YouTube and internet and shit like that, like Project Bluebeam and HARP and all that stuff. I'm not actually sure what functionality of something like HARP actually is. And I'm not even sure what the fuck Project Bluebeam is, I'm not even sure what the fuck that is. But you hear about that a lot in conspiratorial circles, you know, because that's someone that doesn't actually live through the alien situation probably will eventually stumble upon the faces on the walls and the faces in the clouds and all that shit based upon their conspiratorial mind, and it's probably where they start off with, and they leak into this situation. You know, like, oh, well, you know, the government, you know, the United States of America, they're guilty of all this shit, and friggin' they're guilty of friggin' making this false flag operation of aliens and shit. That's not true. Like, this moon right here, fucking, in order to do all this shit, it's just fucking ridiculous. And this is the same pattern that you see in the most remotest areas of the world to the most densely packed areas of our society. So it's not just a couple faces here and there and shit like that. This is trillions and trillions and trillions of faces on top of faces on top of faces that make the facial artwork that really stands out. So it's fucking, there's a lot of shit going on there. See that right there? That's End that fucking mystery. I mean, that dude looks friggin' so much like that friggin' moist shit. It's ridiculous. Well, how'd they get there? Well, he probably fucking put it there. I mean, they probably put it there at like a fucking resort or some shit like that. Like, well, humans didn't build that? Probably not. I don't think humans built any of that shit. What happened was that the shit was already constructed, and then eventually some people just had enough manpower to move in an army and just claim it for themselves. And there's the face font right there. You can just see it's just a soup of faces that just make up that fucking moon. I've never seen one of those faces are there. I didn't make that bullshit up out of nowhere. You know, I cut out all those faces, you know, with that soup of faces, whatever the fuck it is, but they're all kind of shitty unless you kind of like zoom into them. Any artist who has natural ability to be able to angle the pictures to get the right emotions, to blend the images better, really could dissect the images better. Thus, that image is as potent as some of the bigger images, but like the bigger images is kind of like, you know, like the franchise images, you know, like we're like, oh my god, look at this image right there. How did I miss that, you know? And to get those bigger images on something like, you know, on anything, you know, there's a big one right there. Probably best to view the image from a smaller screen and then you know, cut it out that way.
Yeah, we all go crazy over the pyramid. You know, and the pyramid is like the oldest thing in the universe. You know, the Great Pyramid of Giza or whatever. It's the oldest, craziest fucking thing that exists and shit like that. And friggin', if you read Lost Book Yankee, okay, it's a paperback book, alright, if you read that, if it's not bullshit. Baalbek is like a couple 100,000 years old. Baalbek is like the oldest thing that there is on the planet. Like, Baalbek multiplies the pyramids by like fucking a billion. It's ridiculous. And it survived the Great Deluge too, so I mean, you start to say, well, you know, it's the Sumerians, and they kind of have to have a human society, because of the fact that if it fails, doesn't that just speak volumes for the decision making or the responsibility level or whatever the fuck it is of the Bureau? So I mean, like, it's not even like a love situation. Oh, I hope they love us. It's more like a have to, right? At that point in time, because they just don't want to fucking make a mistake on a decision that is them creating a life. I mean, that's just awful.
Thank you.